Apparently, America's finding a lot more rare earth elements. Big news out of Alaska as we continue to find more and more of the items that are going to be needed to power the future. AI, EV, whatever it might be, your computers, your smartphone. We need a lot more of it, and we're getting more of it right here at home domestically now that we have an administration in the White House that says, you know what, we can't be beholden to China. John Tamny, the author of Deficit Delusion, Why Everything Left, Right, and Supply Side Tells You About the National Debt is Wrong. He's also editor of Real Clear Markets, president of the Parkview Institute, and senior institute at the Market Institute. He's got a very big business card to read all that, all right? John, welcome back to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Steve.
All right, so China can't keep rare earth elements out of the U.S. short of hoarding them, but I wouldn't put it past them. What are your thoughts?
Well, if they hoard them, then what a loss to them, because the world changes all the time. 100 years ago, rubber was the ultimate rare earth. It was the one that it was what everyone coveted. Is Akron, Ohio booming now because of rubber? No. And so the Chinese have a choice. They can impoverish themselves by sitting on what the market wants, or they can sell it. And if they sell it, it will flow to the U.S. as though it had been produced in the U.S. in the first place. It doesn't matter the origin of goods. If you're selling it to the whole world.
Exactly right. But what about all these discoveries here in America? It seems to me I see headlines almost daily now of a new discovery of a rare earth deposit or pocket here in the U.S. This big story, of course, the 200-mile road they're punching through Alaska to work with a company from Australia and a company from Canada to help provide rare earths right here. Now, the problem we have is refining, right? We have refining shortages or living on the amount that we can refine. That's a big challenge, isn't it?
I don't know, and it's not my place to say, you need clothes, I need clothes. I suppose we could make them, but at what cost to our productivity? Everything's a trade-off. And so if the Chinese are willing to make what isn't a high margin item, which I think a lot of these rare earths are, why wouldn't we just import it? Again, I don't want to choose what people do, but it's just like when OPEC imposed an embargo, the Arab members of OPEC imposed an embargo in 1973. It's not as though they kept their oil out of the United States. We still consumed it as though it had bubbled up in West Texas. We just bought it from those they sold to. During World War I, there was an embargo placed on Germany, so suddenly U.S. trade with the Scandinavian countries soared. Well, what was that? It just was a sign we were still trading with Germany, albeit through Scandinavian countries. If the rare earths have meaning, and if they're going to drive U.S. economic growth, they're going to be here because our production demands it. Do you think the Chinese are really going to be so suicidal as to give up the biggest market in the world? Not a chance.
So you think they're going to sell it to us anyway? And just mark it up and sell it anyway.
Because in economics, an embargo is symbolic. It doesn't keep the product from getting to where it's wanted. It's always going to get there. And don't think for a second the Chinese don't know that. They're not going to give up a huge market, because if they do, that just means they're handing over the margins and profits to those they sell to. So It's always going to reach the United States. China, it'd be economically suicidal for China to do anything but that.
But the Chinese
can give up the Chinese market.
In fairness, the Chinese are in an asymmetrical war with the United States. We know that. We may not realize it, most of us, because Americans see war as binary. We're either at war or we're not. But the Chinese have been waging war on us economically and more for probably since Korea, if you want to know the truth. I wouldn't put it past them to cut us off.
They were at war with us ever since Korea because they were so poor. They were communists. They couldn't produce anything for us. If they were at war with us, they would literally hoard everything, and we would be a much poorer country. But they're not.
Well, they steal. Well, John, in fairness, they steal they steal proprietary information. They've got 600,000 college kids here, all that have to swear allegiance to the Chinese Communist Party. They take intellectual property. Of course, they're at war with us.
Well, please tell me, conservatives want it both ways. They claim that colleges don't teach anything of value in the first place, but whenever the Chinese have the temerity to avail themselves of U.S. education, suddenly education in the U.S. is amazing and is giving them the tools to thrive.
John, they're not here getting transgender ideology degrees. They're here getting science and math degrees.
Okay, and so what does that mean?
That means they're in our, for example, here at the University of Michigan, we had 3 college kids this year arrested for bringing in pathogens in an agricultural studies program at the University of Michigan. Previous to that, we had 5 college kids from China up at Camp Grayling, the biggest military camp in America, studying and taking pictures of the Taiwanese and American military exercises, pretending to be journalists, but they were students at the University of Michigan. Come on now.
No. Come on, Steve. So if we're at war with China,
No,
why
we're
would
not. They're
no,
at
no,
war
no, no,
with
no, no, no,
us.
no, no. But Steve, you claim the Chinese are at war with us.
I believe
and
that.
and that they're a major threat.
They are.
So, okay, so for one, if that were true, why would they strengthen us with exports to the United States? Because they undeniably strengthen us. Isn't it interesting if they hate us so much? There's 5,500 McDonald's in China on the way to 10,000 in 2028.
That's all fine and well, but the fact of the matter is China believes everything under the sun. That's their saying, not mine, belongs to China. They don't just believe Taiwan is a rogue province. They believe America is a rogue province, and so is Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. They believe everything belongs to them, including the Arctic and the rare earth elements.
They wouldn't sell to us because they strengthen us every single day. They make Americans much better off every single day.
Is America better off than it was 20 years ago?
Undeniably so, and
Really?
I think you know that. But wait, no, Steve, come on. You invited me on the show.
I did.
Since they're at war with us, as you say, don't you want their kids here? Because how can you go to war if the children of your best and brightest are sprinkled around the United States? If they ever actually
not a
did get into a
shooting war.
shooting war with us,
It's an intellectual war.
Wouldn't we have a pretty good card to play? Oh yeah, we've got your best and brightest sitting here in the United States.
And
What are
do you
gonna
think
do?
what America's going to just Shanghai them here and say you can't leave? They're
Well,
here to get information.
I
do you
suppose they
deny
could.
do you deny
You
the
think
Chinese steal
China-
intellectual property? Do you believe the Chinese steal intellectual property every day in this country?
Yeah, and who doesn't steal intellectual property? Can I steal your intellectual property? I could, but I still couldn't do your job. Steve Jobs was the greatest theft of intellectual property in American history.
I think Thomas Edison was, but that's a story for another day.
As was Thomas Edison. Americans used to go over to British factories and they had such great memories. They would literally memorize everything they saw in the factories and bring those ideas back to the
So
United
you don't
States.
think China's a threat at all?
No, of course not. If they were a bigger threat when they were a poor communist country. Now they're a growing country.
So
and
their blue
because they
water
are-
navy building the biggest, most powerful military in the world is of no concern to you.
No, why would it be of a concern to me? If they go to war with us, it's economic suicide for them.
I think that's obtuse. I'm sorry. They're building islands in the Pacific to create new air bases. They've got a blue water navy. They're creating high-tech military equipment every single day. Of course, they're a threat to us and everybody else, for that matter.
I heard the same thing about the Soviet Union, but the Soviet people loved us, and they never.
China's
had the
far
need.
more powerful than the Soviet Union ever was.
Okay, well, so what are they
Russia
going
has
to
150. Russia has 150 million people. It's almost Vietnam's almost that big now. Anyhow, John, I gotta go. Great conversation. Yes, I invited you. You can come back anytime. I like good conversations.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got to hit a break here. We'll be right back.